Winners are announced. Here in studio, it is Sharp Analysis, trying to make sense of the events today. There's been quite a lot of activities in different parts of the country, talking of Mbeere North and also Malava constituency. We will try to make sense of that, what was happening on the ground and exactly what this means for the country moving forward, as far as democracy is concerned and matters election and also leadership and representation. Here in studio, I do have Honorable Christine Ombaka, who is the woman representative Siaya County. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And of course, Timothy Toroitich Kipchumba, who is the Member of Parliament, Marakwet West.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe today we'll be looking critically at the entire matter surrounding by-elections in this country.
Right. Arnold Maliba, who is the party leader, PPM.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much for coming and making time for this conversation tonight as we try and make sense of the events in the country today. Let me start with you, Arnold. What's your general assessment of today's exercise, this by-election?
I'd love to look at the by-election from three perspectives, because generally for me, this election, like any other election, has got three main actors. So I'd love to look at it from that perspective. Number one, of course, the political actors, that is politicians and political parties. Number two is IBC as the EMB, the elections management body. And number three, I'd love to look at the voter as an individual, the citizen. From what I've observed since morning, actually from last night, is that the voter has not changed pattern. The voter has remained fairly consistent in the way you would expect the voter to behave. There has not been change. There's nothing new from the voter that we can report home. But these other two actors, specifically IBC, of course for IBC it was important because we have got new commissioners. The secretariat, of course, has been there. It exists in perpetuity, but since IBC is a quadrate and you expect to have a full commission before it's deemed to be fully constituted, we have got new commissioners who probably a little bit here and there were supposed to put up their best foot forward. We've seen what they can actually do. A little bit of gaps that they can actually work around as we work towards 2027. And then, of course, for the political actors, as the third arm, they did their best. They, like everybody other, whatever they will do, or rather, whatever way you look at it, the political actors came out full swing, because ordinarily, these ones being politicians who are elected, they will tell you that there is never a dry run in politics. Sometimes as you go out, you either you sink or you float. There is never two ways, there is no dry run. So when there is a by-election, a little bit of serious political actors try to actually to have a feel of how the future looks like. So, but generally from what I have checked and looking at independent tallying systems, I think this is a big harvest for the broad-based team. It's a big harvest. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, it's a big harvest on that particular side. The united opposition will have to regroup and decide whether they are really united or not, moving forward.
All right.
Because out of the 24, let's look at the 24 seats. Out of the 24 seats, of course, DCP has done quite a good showing when it comes to MCAs. The Mbeere seat remains in limbo. Kakamega is gone. Malava is gone completely. Malava is gone. There is no coming back from that. It's actually gone. But then, allow me to actually say one word about IBC. For IBC, I think from what I noted since morning is that there is need for the commission, Marjan and his team, to go and train the commissioners on public communication.
Public communication.
Because I saw what the chair said, or is quoted to have said 2-3 days ago. I also watched at least one commissioner, that is Dr. Lutalala, today, and I saw how they were engaging. If you compared how the commissioners engaged the media and how the staff of IBC, I'm talking about the returning officers, where they were given a chance to speak to the media, you realize that the staff were more professional. They knew that they are an elections management body, and they responded quite well. Sometimes the commissioners, like the chair, asked about bribery and all those complaints, he will say, no, there is not. As the chair, knowing too well that the Elections Offences Act, primarily if I have got complain, I will have to go to the chair. If the chair being asked a question by a media house and says no 100% without necessarily leaving room for either we are checking out, we've not received a report, we will look into reports or such, it starts to paint perspective. And you know, IBC has for the longest time been a graveyard, a career graveyard for so many good people. So on that particular bit, I think the commissioners need a little bit of refining. The staff are good.
All right. Yeah. So we'll come and talk about that. I believe I want to cross over to Malava, where Timothy Simo is actually on standby at the moment to bring us up to speed with exactly what is the latest as far as that particular by-election is concerned. Tim, if you can hear me, what is the latest on that particular front? Checking here, I don't see any reports as far as series of those particular reports are concerned here on this particular site of IBC.
We have Muchanga Primary School, Police Station 101. Muchanga Primary School, Police Station 101. This is Shiruku Mugai Ward. There are lots of favor which campus as follows. Angata James, 1.
So, Tim, I don't know if you can get me. What's the latest and what can you update us on as far as the by-elections in Malava are concerned? Trying to look here whether there's been any reports. I don't know from the ground what you're able to gather. Is there any latest reports from that particular front?
The studio sound, but nevertheless, we are here once again. The hour that we talked about very early today in the morning is here with us. The tallying moment of the votes that will have been casted in Malava constituency. The process is currently underway at Malava Boys High School, which is the constituency main tallying center. The county, or rather constituency returning officer, Mr. Abdallah Salim, is up to date with the results as they continue to, come in. We have seen one ballot box after the other being delivered at this tallying center. Remember, they're coming from 198. Barely, we are at polling station number 18 from what I can see from this end. And I know what Kenyans want to hear and to know exactly is how the numbers are playing out. Remember, is whoever emerges with the highest number that will be declared the winner. Currently, as it stands, David Athman Ndakwa of the UDA party has a slim lead of 1,286 votes, then followed closely by DAP Kenya Seth Ambusini Sindani Panyako with 991. So that is a gap of just approximately 200 votes. But remember, this is a very tiny number and the very early stage of tabulating these results, Amwai, because we have 198 polling stations to contend with before the final results will be declared by Mr. Abdallah Salim Abdallah, who's the constituency returning officer. So far, so good. Just outside this main hall where the tallying is taking place, there are dozens of clerks who continue to come in with the results from different locations. So we are expecting that this might take some time before we can duly get to know who emerges the winner among the 9 candidates that were contesting in this race, even though 3 had actually pulled out in favor of other candidates. So basically we were left with 6 to contest for this parliamentary seat. But from the results that we have at least announced some way, obviously it's emerging that it's either Seth Ambusini Panyako or David Athman Ndakwa who have taken the early lead, and the results are closely, contested. But we'll continue to observe and see how everything plays out. In our earlier report, I also mentioned that we have seen a number of figures who have made their way into this main hall, and perhaps it speaks to something. Of course, questions have been asked why the camp of DAP and generally the opposition making has not actually been present in this hall. Like we have seen politicians or leaders who are allied to the broad-based government led by Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa. We also seen PS for Higher Education, Dr. Beatrice Nyangala is here, also long-time politician and former member of Parliament for Mumias East, Benjamin Washiali. And also from where I'm standing right now, I can see businessman and also politician Stanley Livondo accompanying the team led by the governor. But we are yet to spot anyone from DAP Kenya side, of course led by the party leader Eugene Wamalwa, who was at Lonyo Primary, the voting center for Honorable Seth Panyako, but we have not seen them yet making their way into this school. If they'll be doing that, of course that's why we are here, and we'll be letting our viewers know what's happening exactly at Malava Boys. But generally the situation is still very calm, save for the cases that were reported in the morning in some parts of the constituency, especially in Manda Shivanga, that had a lot of activity, and regrettably that had to do with vandalism. Of course, a vehicle was set ablaze. We understand that Honorable Panyako came out to claim that he had been attacked by goons hired by his opponents, and he has repeatedly come on social media to express his dissatisfaction that something was happening, some monkey business was going on to deny him victory. But we are yet to hear from the part of IEBC, except for the national office in Nairobi. On the ground, the poll officers feel everything has been going on smoothly, and we can give it to them that at least within this main tallying center, we have not seen any fracas. And also outside, we have many police officers who are just trying to make sure that everything is kept under control. To access this polling station, you are either, or rather tallying center, you are either a member of the press who has been, of course, given the opportunity to access this venue, or you're an observer, or you're a security officer, or basically you belong to the poll body, which is the IEBC. So security is very tight. We haven't seen any incident where people have been fighting. But we also have had a section of people who have been cheering whenever the polling results, or rather polling stations results, have been announced. And I can say that there is also a section that is representing Seth Panyako, in as much as we have not seen his camp walk into this room. But also we haven't seen Ndakwa just yet, despite the fact that leaders allied to his coalition and party have already made their way into this hall. So ultimately, Amoy will be waiting to see what eventually will be the final word from the returning officer when the whole of the results from 198 polling stations will have been tallied, verified, and of course, confirmed, to get to know who takes the mantle as the next member of parliament for Malava constituency, a constituency that has the highest number of registered voters within Kakamega County. Brian.
All right, team, of course, he say, it's just quite enough when it comes to not so many, votes have been counted at the moment, or rather reported in that particular polling station, bringing us up to speed on exactly the issue to do with security there. Thank you so much, Timothy Simwa. Let me engage you, team. You are an elected member. And from what Timothy is reporting from the ground has to do with individuals that are already showing up at the tallying center. What do we read from that? Is it an indicator of a certain candidate winning, or it's too early to read?
Yeah. First of all, I want to say that I am a bit disappointed with the slow process of tallying by IEBC. If you look at what has been tallied by IEBC, it's 2%, whereas my friend here already knows the results out of social media. So IEBC has to up their game, because it is now almost 5 hours after close of closure of voting at the polling stations. and they have only relayed 2% of the results. So they have to up their game in terms of verification and relaying of the result, because you can imagine if it was a presidential election where you are told that IBC is the only mandated body to give the correct results. You see, because there is a lot of misinformation in social media as you speak, and you can imagine if there are 2%. I think it may take up to tomorrow, such a time, to actually give the official results. But be that as it may, of course, the presence of politicians from the other side means, of course, they have tallied the results at the polling station, and probably they know the outcome. But be that as it may, it doesn't concern me so much on who has won. What concerns me is, was the process fair? Was it free? Was it transparent? Was it credible? I think for me, that is what matters.
Okay.
Because we've seen some pockets of violence in the morning, which as a leader I want to condemn in the strongest terms possible, because it is a pointer. It may be a pointer to what may happen in the next general election.
Give me a minute. I want to cross over to Mbeere North to listen into the current announcement as far as results are concerned.
Gary Daniel Ireri 000, Jero Reo Amudende 020, Jero Ruben Morivi 000, Waiharo Simon Mwaura 000, and the total number of valid votes cast 038. Polling station counts. Total number of registered voters in the polling station 053. Total number of rejected ballot papers 000. The total number of objected to ballot papers 000. And the total number of disputed votes 000. Total number of valid votes cast 038.
All right, and of course, like we said, real-time ground reporting and sharp analysis here in studio, trying to make sense of exactly what is happening. We'll be here until the last vote is counted and those winners announced. It is, of course, 22 electoral areas. We're talking about 6 vacant parliamentary seats, 1 senatorial, and 15 MCS. All of them, by the time we finish this particular production, we'll have to understand who exactly won, where, and what that means for the country moving forward. Let me come to you, Christine. What's your general assessment? The same question I asked Arnold when we started. What's your general assessment? Because Tim here says, there's been quite a little bit of laxity as far as the process is concerned.
Thank you. First, my feelings and what I have assessed is that we have not changed. We have not changed in the way we vote or the process that is used. In all the past elections, there are always violence, which we have already seen in this context, the by-election. Every time we have elections, we always have violence. Cars are burnt, voters vote, but they hang around, they don't go home. And I saw today that some of them in Kasipul Kabondo, in Kasipul generally, the police was chasing away those who had voted. They were still hanging in there, but they argued that they are there to protect their votes. I don't know what that means, whether it is within the law that you hang around after you have voted, but that has been a pattern all the way. The violence that continues to be there, nobody seems to take charge of the violence. We don't seem to learn that in the past we have had violence before. What action did we take that we can now take now and move forward and make election peaceful? We need peace, we need fairness and all that, and we don't meet that. So I saw Kaluma being harassed, some vehicles burnt, and some 23 young people arrested right now. And we are still keeping quiet, and we may see that again, 2027. It's been going on. So for me, I've not learned anything new. I've not seen any change in the manner in which we vote. I just see a repetition of the mistakes we have had in the past, continuing every now and again.
What lesson do we get to learn from this then, moving to 2027? Because to some extent, we said this is an election that is a precursor to 2027. Whatever happens in this by-election will determine the political direction and also just the integrity of elections when it comes to matters 2027.
I think there's something missing. We have what is called civic education, and IEBC should undertake that. They have never done it. This is a new IEBC, so I don't blame them. They didn't have time to do it. But why haven't we done it? Even with the IEBC in the past, I've never seen IEBC going out to educate people on the importance of voting, because even there's not voter turnout. Look at how embarrassing it is. People don't turn up because they don't see the value of voting. They don't believe it works for them. They don't think it is valuable and that they will benefit from this by-election. So they don't turn up. But somebody needs to tell them how important it is to vote. It is their right to vote, but they do not do that. So we start by that. Do the people, do the voters, do Kenyans know the importance of voting, the power of voting, putting your vote in the ballot and choosing the right leader, so that you don't complain later and say, oh, we have wrong politicians, we have wrong woman rep or MP or MCA. I mean, they start crying later, but they didn't even vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we took to the streets last year, there was that sense of change when it comes to elections in 2027. And to some extent, a lot of people expected that this would be the determinant and, a litmus test, not just for the IEBC, but also for the Kenyan voter in terms of trying to make sure that their voices are heard.
The people that went to the street last year did not participate in this election, and that worries me. Because even the kind of violence and passion that you've seen, the vigor that you saw, was largely around an aspect of the people you will see in the streets in 2023, not 2024.
Okay.
The team that showed up last year was the Gen Z, and I'm a little bit worried that if we do not find a way of, number one, encouraging them to actually register as voters, and also probably creating a by-election sometimes next year, where we put them at the center of it for acceptability, then we might end up on 10th of August in 2027, and they simply refuse to take part in that particular election and pull a Tanzania on us. Why do I say that? In Tanzania, there's this group from the very beginning that just decided once the INEC wasn't going their way, the processes and the changes they wanted to work out didn't go their way. So they had a demonstration and protest scheduled on the election day. For me, that is actually a big thing. The only lesson that probably we need to take home is that the country is actually wounded. There is a lot of healing that is actually required. I hope that the president, as the leader of the nation, the head of state and the symbol of national unity, can actually, this is the lesson for him to take. I'm not going to address him as the leader of UDA. I'd love to actually address him as the head of state, because there is no reason why Kaluma was beaten in Kasipul, other than people are hungry and they are looking for a moment, a trigger to just manifest violence. There was no reason why there was so much violence in Malaba. None. No reasonable, as in there is nothing. It's only that people are looking for a way to actually bleed. If you actually would be honest with how the ground feels, like what happened last year, there is a feeling that that was an incomplete revolution. It didn't land. It's like a wave that went and hung up somewhere. It's not landed. So, and the Gen Zs have not really registered well. So far, IBC really needs to, somebody really needs to talk to IBC to ensure that they go out now, move from the constituency offices, go to wards, and we need to come up with a clever way of pulling them to feel like they are part and parcel of this process. Because my worry, and I will still insist that if these guys are not going to register as voters, they've not taken part in this by-election, therefore they will still start feeling like them versus us. And then they coincide something that we might not really be ready to work with. But then most importantly, 24 seats, including the 2 that were not contested. that 24 seats constitutes 1.27% of the 1,882 vacancies that normally occur during a general election. So IBC, as they took care of this, they were simply taking care of 1.27%. Now, out of the 24 elections that they held today, there were incidents of violence in 10 of them. I'm talking about serious incidents of violence in 10 of them. That constitutes 41%. Now, extrapolate that. I know, and of course people will argue that 1% is not significant data, but for politics, you sometimes have to look at these things, because you see, this is 1.27%, right? That we did, but it has got a little bit of bearing on how 2027 can actually look like. So, if this country, for example, had, in a general election, you have got 41% of the country with incidents, there is no agency in this country, no combined agencies that can take care of that. Because for perspective, at the height of Gen Zs, they slightly were about, slightly over 100,000 in the streets, and you know where we were. So imagine 41%. And also, people will say that it was so small, but look at this. There was an election in all the regions of Kenya except Central Kenya. There was an election in Coast. So IBC has a feel of how Coast would actually go. There was an election, at least 2 in Eastern, from Mbeere. Mbeere is Eastern, as much as it, and we need to be very clear, Mount Kenya is not Central. Oh, yes, I won't talk about regions, so that then people don't mix that. So Mbeere and Mumbuni, that is in Eastern. Northeastern, we had Banisa, and I think there was another one, I think, in Wajir. I don't know whether I'm correct. In Rift Valley, we had a number of them. Turkana had 2. Narok, Baringo. So you look at that. Then in Western, we had 2 by-elections. In Nyanza, we had, I think, 2. So only Central Kenya did not have a by-election. And Kariobangi North is not so far from Central Kenya. So literally today, IBC had its staff in literally all the regions of Kenya. So if you look, of course, I know if you look quantitatively, you say 1.27% is a very small data set to go in. But if you were to extrapolate that number and try to look at 2027, just imagine, I can tell you it is something to worry. So I hope that IBC has taken its lessons. The guys at Interior have actually taken their lessons, and that for what they have learned out of this, it will help them to sharpen their strategies. To work it out better.
All right.
But let me.
I want to cross to Kasipul, then I come back to you. All right. Time to take a look at what is happening in Kasipul. My colleague, of course, Joseph Guma, is on standby. Joseph, Guma, how are you? Good evening. No, it's been a very long day, but like we said, we do this until the last vote is counted. What is the latest from that particular front? Of course, we'll get to fix that particular hitch when it comes to matters sound and go back to Guma for an update in regards to the latest as far as voting, counting of votes is concerned, especially in Kasipul. You wanted to say something before I...
Yeah, I want to say that election is a process. Before you get to election itself, like we had today, people campaign. But you can see that even violence started during campaign time. Yeah, 2 people were killed in Kasipul. And after being killed, IEB simply charged them 1 million each. That to me was not enough.
What should have been done?
Yeah, they arrest them and put them in.
Should they have been disqualified?
And 2, charging 1 million is not enough for the loss of 2 lives. It's a criminal offense. They should actually be charged with murder. So to me, they needed to move a step higher and punish these people so that people learn lessons that election should be peaceful.
Election should be peaceful.
But they didn't do that. So that process of campaign must be handled carefully before you reach to the election time when some more violence take place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tim, at this particular moment, we seem to be, this is a new IBC. This is a litmus test for them. There's already, questions in regards to how they've been able to conduct the process. Arnold, of course, laying it out there. And of course, also just the way they've been able to handle this particular issue to some extent. Rigathi Gachagua was saying, if we bungle this election, then we might not trust you to be able to conduct the 2027 election. Where are we as far as trust is concerned? Because they were given a clean sheet of paper. Right now, they're just deducting marks.
Brian, I want to associate myself with the sentiments of Arnold and my friend here, Dr. Mbaka, and say that one, actually we may be reaping the consequences of delaying the constitution of IBC.
Yeah.
IBC is behind time. There are so many things they have not done.
Okay.
Remember, we have not done, we will not be able to review our boundaries because of time. And then they have not done civic education. Even them themselves, they have to be trained, on the law, and especially on the Elections Act, Elections Offences
Act. If they've not done all of those things, are they ready for general election?
So that is a problem. So they must up their game. They must be able to compress the time that is left to undertake what is expected of them. Because if you look at today, I saw commissioners in those areas. What are commissioners doing there? They should not be supervising elections at that local level. These are people who should be at the national level, looking at maybe complaints and such other issues. But having said that, Brian, we have an entire law in this country, the Election Offences Act, that provides and prescribes punishment for election offenders. In fact, if you look, for example, at the issue of election violence, it actually provides for imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years. Yeah, we need to see IBC take action. We need our courts to enforce this particular legislation. Let them be jailed so that others can learn. Because what we are seeing today is a precursor. It may be a precursor of what shall happen in 2027. Of course, we don't want such a thing to happen. But imagine if we have violence in every constituency, as you saw today. But again, look at the flip side. Today, we saw violence in Western Kenya, in Malava, in is it Narok, and part of Anbere. What could have caused it? In my own assessment, there is some element of supremacy, local supremacy battles. If you see, for example, in Malava, there's a contest between Wetangula, the speaker, there is Atembea, there is Mudavadi. Okay. So that could have escalated the violence.
Right.
If you see in Bere, between the deputy president, former deputy president, yeah. We have the leader of DP, okay. What is the name? Former speaker of the National Assembly, in Turi. Of course. So that could have escalated the violence in those sections. But be that as it may, we must be able actually to sit down. IBC must sit down and review matters of voter bribery and the issues of violence that we saw today. And action must be taken.
All right.
And we shall be calling it up as members of parliament.
All right. Yeah. I want to cross over to Kasipul and come back. Of course, we continue the conversation as we try to make sense of exactly what was been happening today. Guma, right now, I believe that we fixed whatever issue that we had with you. Listen, good evening to you. And what's the latest from Kasipul?
Thank you very much. We are here at Agorosare High School, and sorry for the hitch that had happened earlier. I think we've sorted it, and we can continue informing our viewers of what is transpiring at the Kasipul constituency by-election. And here in Agorosare High School, the tallying has already begun for the constituency tallying for the 142 polling stations that are now bringing their results for tallying. And also what you can see here, there are candidates who have arrived here. Basically the ODM candidate Boyd Were has arrived here accompanied by Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, and also among other leaders Peter Opondo Kaluma of Homa Bay constituency, Lilian Gogo of Rangwe, are also here accompanying Boydweri. Also, what we can see, other candidates have not been, we've not seen some of the candidates coming here to witness the announcing of the final results. And being a period that has been a long period for the people of Kasipul constituency from the campaign period. Now it's a matter of hours before they know their member of parliament that will be there with them for the next 2 years. Currently, the votes or the tallying that has happened is in about 20 polling stations out of the 42 polling station, 142 polling station in this constituency. And tallying is going on, so it's just a matter of hours before we know what who will be the member of parliament for Kasipul constituency. Also, earlier in the day, we've witnessed the voting has gone all throughout the day, where earlier in the morning, voters turned out and we could see queues in the lines with voters coming out to vote. But later on in the day, towards noon, you would find visiting polling stations, you'd find most of the queues were not there. Most of the people were coming in, streaming in one by one to come and vote. We'll finally know the correct figures in terms of turnout in this by-election when the IBC will finally announce the winner. And we are following and we're just waiting for the final results of this particular by-election in this constituency. Also, other things that we've witnessed, there have been bits of some sort of violence that has been witnessed in this area. And we saw where Peter Kaloma was attacked and was injured. Also, there have been a number of youths that have been arrested so far in regards to being linked to causing mayhem and being armed with crude weapons and also riding in various Probox vehicles, as it was reported by the police commander, county police commander of Homa Bay. That is the update from this side of Homa Bay. In case you have anything, you can ask.
Of course, let me just throw this question to you. You've mentioned the issue to do with, some youth having been arrested. We understand that the number was 23. It was quite a tense moment and a tense situation in that particular area, of course, with the attack of a member of parliament. As the voting exercise came to a close, that is at 5 p.m., what was the situation at that particular moment? Was the situation still tense or things had cooled down a little bit? And right now, as far as security and also just the tension is concerned, what can you talk about that?
Okay, I'm not getting you very well from the studio because where we are, there are kind of background sounds coming in, and may come up again so that we can be at par with the question.
All right, if you can get me, let me just go straight to it. Youth have been arrested. The situation was tense during the day. Right now, is the situation the same or things have cooled down as people wait for these results?
Okay, right now there is a bit of calm in this particular side, and so far the security personnel have assured the public that they are heightening security around this place, and also even here in the tallying center, there are a lot of security personnel that are just ensuring that there is no any sort of disruption that might occur in this particular area, and also when from the outside also there are patrols, security personnel who are doing patrols to just ensure that no one is harmed during this particular time, and we hope the situation will stay that way depending on the results that will be announced by the IBC. Okay.
We're waiting for the final results, despite clear indications that some, politicians allied to a certain faction that was campaigning, arriving to receive those particular results will not try and declare who the winner is. We wait for the IBC to tell us exactly who won in this particular election. Thank you so much, Guma, for that particular update. Of course, we'll be coming back to you later on to try and see where the IBC is at as far as the tallying process is concerned here until the last vote is counted. All right. Christine, yes. No, I was to go to Arnold. Arnold.
Party leader.
When we started, when I asked a question, you looked at 3 issues. You said, the different players. We have the political actors, we had the voter, and also the IBC. And you said there's nothing new from the voter. Did you expect anything new from the voter?
Of course, everybody expected that from last year, since there was so much complaint about Parliament, to a point that Parliament was breached, as people came out to express their anger and dissatisfaction with how Parliament was carrying out its business. You would expect ordinarily that probably when people go to vote, there would be a little bit of a difference. But the thing is this, since I'm not running in this by-election, I'll just say it. A lot of times there's this saying that politicians are tricksters, as in wanasiasa ni wakora na ni wakorofi. If you look at the political ecosystem, mtu mkora na mkorofi ni voter. No one beats the voter. The reason why politicians engineer and come up with all those theatrics you see is actually in response to how the market is behaving. The political market, as in people who come from corporate settings, people properly who are professional, you all of a sudden realize that they are behaving so differently. It's not like you will hear a lot of times people saying that so-and-so was so good until he was elected and then he changed. That's not, as in, that is a misdiagnosis. Because if the electoral process, if the election process is what you saw today, how do you expect any sane thing to come out of this process?
It's okay.
I'd love you to actually just see what has happened. That look at the monies that have actually gone to this. Heavy money. Look at the violence that has actually been meted in this. If the coming to birth is this violent, do you really expect that very normal people can actually come out of this process victorious? So let's go back. The reason why I put away the voters, because these are the sovereigns, these are the people as a pillar, and then the EMB as an arbiter in between, and then the political actors as them that seek power. Okay. The reason why actually is that the voter did not behave differently. For the voter, this looked like a festival. It was a bonanza. They were out to actually get as much as they could. And they still behaved the way they have always behaved. There is nothing new from the voter. Honestly, if you have observed this election, there was nothing new from the voter. Okay. So at least the traditional voter as well. This was just like any other thing. And unfortunately, I have seen this argument in this country a lot of times, people saying that the issue of asking for bribes is simply a preserve of the poor masses. It's not. If you've run for office, even very educated people ask you for money. A doctor friend of mine, I'm talking about a doctor. Yeah. So one, that is an A student.
It's not Dr. Christian. It's not you. It's not you.
One, a doctor friend of mine told me sometimes in 2023 that she was just driving home and she saw a group of people running around. I'm not going to say the county, but it was one of those metropolitan counties. Then she lowered the car window and asked, what's happening? And then people said that there's a mheshimiwa here who's a governor aspirant who's meeting people, and there is money that is being shared. They are giving to women only. So she drove into her house, akafunga leso, na akafunga kitamba. Then she became a common mama wa kawaida, and then akapanga line akapanga. When I asked her, you are a whole doctor, why did you take that 1,000? She said, it just feels good. So it's the
it's
culture.
A Kenyan thing.
It's a Kenyan thing.
It's a voter thing. Yeah.
That culture thing is not going to move away. No. Actually, people are received. The reason why you realize people sometimes are so loyal to political parties, he's an independent, so there are those outliers. He's among the few outliers. People who break, because you would rather then go and be loyal to a party that has got a higher covering, because then it opens doors as an individual you might not be able to open. That's what I'm saying. But why is that the case? It is because of the voter culture, the voter behavior. Mpiga kura ni mkora kuliko mwanasiasa. The same people who put on orange, you come talk to them wanakupigia makofi, are the same people who just change the t-shirt and welcome the other person, receive and tell him ni wewe peke yake. And then what is important here, Brian, is to say this. Let us not say that voters are victims. I want to be very clear on that. Voters are not victims. Because if there is anything that is so common, is voters kukula pesa na wasikupigie with impunity. So we cannot claim that voters do not have the agency to make a good decision when they want to. Because the commonest thing is to see voters wanakula pesa na kuna kitu utawafanya. So when they choose to take some money and vote, it is a decision they have made because they never sign anywhere wakichukua hiyo pesa. So it's also important that we tell voters cold and hard that we are third world because our people are third world minded.
Okay.
We are in this violent situation because our people are exactly that. By the way, it doesn't matter. We can sing Vision 2030. The president can sing about taking us to Singapore and Malaysia. If the people of Kenya are not willing to actually go there, it's a waste of time.
So they're not. You think they're not willing to go to
at least up to now, we have not had the political inspiration to touch them so that then they can actually come along.
But that point is so critical, what you're raising. Voters expect to be given money and they go for it. But even leaders are ready to give it. You will be surprised that an elected person will say that 1,000 shillings is meant for one person. It's never to be shared. We have many of them saying that. Some of them nickname themselves. They praise themselves. I say, I'm a branch of a bank in my community.
All right.
They,
so you just
say, I'm a branch
this is
of
the thing,
a bank.
because during this particular...
I'm a bank that has been... Tiririka, money is pouring down. He calls himself so. Yeah, I'm Bankutuch. Bankutuch means a bank has so money is trickling. So even leaders who are elected are encouraging Wananchi to have money from them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're ready to dish it out. And they do that because they want more votes from them.
All
They're
right.
campaigning. Campaign is the most difficult. And it's going to be terrible in 2027.
Okay.
And I don't know what's going to happen.
We'll come back and talk about how terrible it's going to be in 2027, and also just the issue of dishing out money, because in Mbeere we saw that kulikuwa na hoteli lazima ifungwe ama isifungwe, and people being told kula pesa mpaka the last moment. Right now I want us to cross over to Magarini, where my colleague that is Boniface Msangi. Now, I was looking at Msangi and I was thinking he was looking, he looks a little bit like me. So I was a little bit confused. Listen, cross over to Magarini, where Boniface Msangi is on standby to bring us up to speed with exactly what the latest results are from that particular front, whether the tallying exercise is close to an end or we've just begun. Msangi, over to you.
Kusanya matokeo cha eneo bunge hili la Magarini, ambapo ni katika taasisi ya mapimo hapa, na tayari zile zoezi la kuhesabu kura zile kutoka katika vituo vya kupiga kura limeanza hapa tayari. Wale makarani na pia vile wale maafisa wa IBC tayari wanaendeleza zoezi hilo hapa. Yote basi ni kuweza kujua nani ataibuka mshindi na kuweza kuwa mbunge wa hili la Magarini hapa. Bila kupoteza wakati basi hapa pale mbele kile unachoona pale ni zoezi la kuendelea kuhesabu kura zile na kuweza kudhibitisha kwamba yale matokeo yaliyotoka kule mashinani basi ama katika vituo vya mashinani ndiyo matokeo hayo ambayo yataweza kusomwa hapa, na pia vile kuweza kuhakikisha basi yanalingana ili kusiweze kuwa na utata wowote. Anaendeleza zoezi hili basi ni yule afisa msimamizi wa tume hii ya IBC katika eneo bunge hili hapa. Tayari ni kura ambazo zinapigwa, lakini kutoka hapo mwanzo basi tumeweza kushuhudia tu idadi ndogo ya kura ambao wameweza kujitokeza katika zoezi zima hili la kuweza kupiga kura katika eneo bunge hili la Magarini basi, na ni zoezi ambalo limefanyika kwa njia ya amani, ila kwa sasa ni hali tu ya kuweza kuhesabu kura hizi basi na kuweza kubaini mshindi. Tutaweza kutambua pia vile kwa kina kile ambacho kimeweza kujiri katika sehemu mbalimbali ambapo nitaweza kuongea pia vile na kamishna wa tume ya IBC. Atuambie pengine hadi kufikia sasa pengine tunatarajia pengine mshindi kuweza kutangazwa pengine saa ngapi ama hapo muda gani, kizingatia kwamba basi kwa sasa bado zile kura ambazo zimeweza kupigwa na kuhesabiwa katika maeneo ya mashinani ndio zinaingia katika kituo hiki kikuu pole na ili kujenga ile taswira basi ushindani mkali hadi kufikia sasa ni kati ya yule kiongozi ama yule mgombea wa chama cha ODM ambaye ni Harrison Kombe, na pia vile vile yule mwenzake wa chama cha DCP ambaye ni Stanley Kenga. Hawa wagombea wawili basi wanafuatana kwa karibu, na zile matokeo ambayo sio rasmi ambayo tumeweza kuyasomewa ni kwamba basi ikiweza kujengea taswira tu katika kile kituo ambacho kiko hapa karibu hapa na mimi cha Mapimo, Harrison Kombe amepata kura 103 huku Kenga Stanley akipata kura 38, na pia vile vile katika ile shule ama katika shule ya Sogorosa shule ya Sogorosa basi vile vile Stanley Kenga amepata kura 50 huku Kombe Harrison akipata kura 100. Ni mashindano ambayo yameweza kuashiria kwamba ni ya karibu sana. Hivyo basi hawa wagombea wawili wameweza kupewa upato mkubwa katika kinyang'anyiro hichi hapa. Ikizingatiwa kwamba pia vile vile tumeweza kuona baadhi ya wagombea baadhi ya wafuasi wa chama cha ODM wakiweza kutembea na kuweza kusherehekea, ambapo hatujaelewa sherehe zile zilikuwa za nini, lakini tunasubiri kusikia kutoka kwa tume hii ya IBC wapo sherehe zile basi zitakuwa ni sherehe rasmi au itakuwa pia vile vile ni mbwembwe tu za kuweza kutuliza wafuasi wao. Bila kupoteza wakati basi tutaweza kuongea tu na kamishna wa IBC hapa moja kwa moja. Hujambo, karibu katika eneo ile Magarini. Pengine tu kianza na majina yako, tuambie hali halisi ya uchaguzi huu imekuwaje hadi kufikia sasa.
Asante, jina langu Alutalala Muhwana, mimi ni kamishna IBC na ninashughulika na shughuli nzima ya kusimamia yale yanaendelea hapa, nikiwa naelekeza na kusaidiana na wenzangu ambao wanafanya kazi hapa, hususan afisa rejeshi returning officer manake katika kituo hiki. Kwa jumla tumekuwa na amani. Nimerauka mapema na nimepata hakikisho la afisa wa polisi kwamba mambo yako shwari, na tangia asubuhi mpaka sasa hatujakuwa na visa vyovyote vya uhuni, na nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu.
Tumeweza kuona idadi ndogo ya wapiga kura wameweza kujitokeza. Pengine kipi kimechangia, ama nyinyi kama tume mnachukuliaje hali hii?
Historia ya chaguzi ndogo ni kwamba mara nyingi raia hawana haja sana kama chaguzi kubwa. Hiyo ni desturi ambayo tumeiona katika taifa. Na kando na hayo, hatuwezi kujua mpaka utafiti ufanywe ni kwa nini raia wa Kenya huwa hawachangamkii chaguzi ndogo lakini uchangamkia chaguzi kubwa. Lakini ukweli ulioko ni kwamba idadi walijitokeza ni ndogo, ni finyu sana, na tungalipenda raia wajue kwamba iwapo hawatalichangamkia swala la kupiga kura, wanaupoteza uhuru wao ambao wameupa tume huru kuwa ni yenye kufanya masuala ya uchaguzi kwa niaba yao. Maana kazi tunayoifanya sisi kama tume huru ni kazi tuliyopewa chini ya katiba, hususan ibara ya kwanza ambayo inasema kwamba mamlaka ya raia yako chini ni ya raia, na mamlaka ya taifa zima ni ya raia, lakini sisi tutekeleza kwa niaba yao. Kwa hivyo haina haja msije kupiga kura kisha wakati CDF inakuja hamuamui nani atakayekuwa anatunza CDF yenu, hamuamui nani atawajengea barabara, hamuamui nani ambaye atashughulika na basari za watoto wenu. Muamuzi ni wewe. Na kuna msichana mmoja ambaye kule upande wa Mabrui alionyeshwa kwenye runinga akiwa amembeba dadake mdogo anaenda kupiga kura. Huyo msichana kwangu ni mzalendo. Maana hiyo ndio motisha nimekuwa nikisema kwamba kwa vyovyote vile piga kura. Usifuate mambo ya kuambia kwamba kura itaibiwa. Hakuna kura itakayoibiwa. Wana nakuambia kwamba kura inaibiwa, wanawania viti. Sasa wewe
pia vile tukiweza kuzungumzia swala, tumeweza kuona yale matokeo basi ambayo yanaletwa katika kituo hichi kikuu cha kuweza kuhesabu kura katika eneo bunge hili, basi yanakuja kwa mwendo wa kobe, na pia vile vile tukiweza kuangalia kwamba yanatoka sehemu mbali. Pengine huenda mshindi akatangazwa pengine kama muda gani hivi ama siku gani?
Saa asubuhi, maana sasa tuko 16 na vituo ni 193. Vingine viko mbali, Garashi kule juu, Ado kule juu. Kwa hivyo kulingana na urefu wa kule walivyo itachukua muda, na pia wakifika hapa shughuli ya kuwapanga ni mrefu. Kwa hivyo tunavyoona kwamba kwa sasa ni vituo 16 pekee yake ambavyo vimeripoti, na kuna vituo 193. Tunaona labda masaa asubuhi saa 9 saa 10 inshallah tunaweza kuwa tunapata mchango.
Kwa sasa unawaambiaje wale wafuasi wa wale wagombea mbalimbali ambao wako nyumbani wanatazama kwa sasa, unawaambiaje kuhusiana na swala zima la kuweza kuzingatia amani na utulivu?
Wagombea wale wafuasi wao watulie nyumbani, haina haja kuja hapa. Muhimu ni kwamba kuna mawakala ambao wanawasimamia, wakae nyumbani, matokeo watakuja na wasomewa nyumbani.
Sana na pongezi. Naam, basi ni kamishna huyu wa tume IEBC ambaye tumeweza kuongea naye moja kwa moja katika mahojiano yetu, akisema kwamba basi takriban vituo kama 16 tayari ndio vimefika hapa kuweza kuwasilisha matukio yao hapa, na vituo hivi basi vinavyosubiriwa kufika hapa ni vituo 193. Hivyo basi mwendo kama alfajiri hivi ndio huenda mshindi akapatikana. Na pia vile vile tukumbuka kwamba basi wapiga kura ambao wamejitokeza kwa sasa ni asilimia chache, takriban kama asilimia 32 hivi, na wapiga kura halisi ambao katika eneo bunge hili la Magarini basi ni wapiga kura 82,123. Idadi kubwa ya wakazi hapa hawakujitokeza. Swala ni nini kimewachangia wasiweze kujitokeza? Je, uamuzi wa kuweza kuchagua kiongozi wao wamemwachia nani? Kutoka eneo hili la Magarini, kituo kikuu cha kukusanya matokeo cha mapato, jina langu naitwa Boniface Msangi.
Right, Boniface Msangi there with the latest, and of course with an interview with Altalala there, giving us a surety of free and fair elections as far as these by-elections are concerned, especially in Magarini constituency. Right now, I do want us to take a break. When we come back, we continue the conversation, making sense of the events today.
Meme TV.
StarTimes is taking your entertainment to the next level. This holiday, recharge, upgrade, and celebrate the festive season. Renew your subscription on your current bouquet for 1 month and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 1 month to enjoy more entertainment and more festive joy. Unlock more channels.
Wow, that's amazing!
More cartoons.
Like I think he said the magic word.
More sports, more movies, more drama, and more reality. Recharge, upgrade, and celebrate with your loved ones. On the go, enjoy all your best shows anytime on the StarTimes On app.
Absolutely amazing!
StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
My name is Ari. I made kachumbari.
My name is Cliff, and I made beef.
I'm Auntie Faith. I brought chapatis.
My name is Uncle Vinny. I made the best chicken.
Mimi ndiye mama yao na nimewapikia
Jamii Pishori Live.
You people don't see my chicken here.
Your chicken was best before Mom made Jamii Pishori rice.
Jamii Pishori rice, where quality begins.
Naeza kuwa sina godfather, sina any support system, lakini kwa uwezo wake Mwenyezi Mungu, in one way or the other, one day one time, mambo yangu itakuja kuwa sawa. One day one time.
Kwegwatira skize tune one day one time. Hihinya *811 *227 hasha. Wegwatira skize tune one day one time. Thimo-ini yaku umuthi *811 *227 hash.
Juba Movie tariki 29th November. Kegwa Super Outdoor Arena live on Kameme TV na Kameme Kayo Kamwingi Kameme Ruai Gardens. Tokoigane Grayson Whiskey Gold na Grayson Whiskey Black. Ruai Gardens Muagoa Grayson Whiskey Black na Grayson Whiskey Gold. Oli Givione First Officer Jeff Njoroge na DJ Caris. Iheo Shia Grayson Whiskey Gold Black Nekwawe Game. Juba Movie tariki 29th November. Turasha Mania Ruai Gardens. Kegwa kuhihua murio.
Njohi rekenderio mundu utakinyitie miaka 18. Unyui wa njohi utari na githimi ni ugwati hari ugima waku wa mwiri.
Usife moyo, weka matumaini yako hai. Ipo siku maombi yako yatatimia. Ipo siku neema itashuka maishani mwako. Zidi kuweka matumaini yako hai. Kwegwatira skiza tune tumaini. Hihinya *811 *48 hash wigwa tasikiza tune tumaini thimwene ya kumothe *811 *48